This is Professor Homa. I'm back for part 3 of software extension formatting exercise that we did in class, and for people that missed it, you're getting to see some of what we're doing on the instructions. Last time we did 5 through 7. Part 1 we did 1 through 4. I'm going to do 8, 9, 10. We're not going to do everything, but I'll give you the basics of what we're going to do next. We're going to go to number 8, and this is where we're going to set a left indent. Now some people, when they make, and the idea is to make these lines of text just move in closer so they're easier to read, and they set them off a little bit more from the heading, the word processing software heading. So we're just going to move these lines in a little bit from the left, and that's going to involve a left indent. We don't want to be using tabs to do that because we can't do multiple lines, because we'd actually have to put a tab key in there. We don't have to put any character, we just have to highlight these lines, and we're going to do it from the same place that we did our tabs, our paragraph dialog box launcher. We'll go into here. We also did spacing in here. We'd use our tabs in here, and now we're going to use our left indent. So I'm just going to left indent this to, it goes over to 0.2. You're going to have to put in the 5. You could highlight the whole field and just type in 0.25 is fine, because it doesn't default to 0.25, but it's a 1/4 inch left indent, and when I hit OK, I could see what it does. It indents 1/4 inch from the margin, and if you look up here on the ruler, you could see that there's the icons up here, these two little arrows and little box, they indent also 1/4 inch. And you could also move this thing. I'll move this thing just to show you that you can control indents by moving this. I can move it all the way over to 1 inch, but we did it through the dialog box launcher, which is probably easier because this can get a little tricky moving this around, especially when you start doing first line indents and hanging indents. But that's our 1/4 inch left indent, and that was number 8 on our instructions. And we could also do that just to get a little repetition down here. I'll highlight these lines and I'll do the same thing, and maybe this time I'll just drag this, and let me drag it again. There we go. And again, where we did that, you can see it's already showing up here. It's a 1/4 inch left indent moving that text in. So I'll hit OK. So I could have done it here, or we also did it up here, and even you can see when I did it, sometimes it's a little tricky moving that around because it was trying to set a tab initially. The next thing I'm going to do is number 10, which is, this is again, it's setting a tab. For all the rest, we can basically set a 1/2 inch tab, or not a 1/2 inch tab. We could set a tab at 5 inches, just like we did the other one. So we're just repeating the process. So with all that text highlighted, I'm just going to go over here and go back to tabs again and put in 5 and make sure it's a right tab, and hit set and hit OK, and there's my tabs are done. And then everything else for this, the instructions on your sheet are basically kind of repeating things. You could try setting tabs different way, but for now, you know, this heading, just like the other heading, would need to be in bold, and it would need a 12-point space before. So if I go up here and put its 12-point space before, I'm going to hit OK, and that separates it kind of like this heading here. So it's the same thing. These things here are going to have the indent, and I could go in here to my dialog box launcher and put in 0.25 and indent them. This general formats won't get indented, but it'll be made bold, and since it's kind of a subheading, it'll only have the 6-point space before. It's not as much space in between. And this tab delimited text will also have, and this time maybe I'll just drag this over and then indent it that way. Database software, again, is just being made bold. It's being given a 12-point space before, and we're just repeating that process for the rest of the way. And you know, steps 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 on your sheet kind of repeat these processes. So I'm going to stop here as far as doing this. I'm not going to go through and format the rest of it, but basically it's just kind of repeating those processes.